It's Miss Thompson. What can I tell you? When he saw Lil's T coming, Ollie's eyes stopped at first, but soon cooled. I just ran into him, so I just wanted to say hi. Lil's T swallowed back the words he was about to explain. Ollie had heard from her mother that she was seeing someone else, and she didn't quite believe it. I can't believe it's true. Although the two have divorced, but to see her husband, so soon to have another woman, she is still a little uncomfortable. It's a kind of inexplicable resistance. Mr. Hayes, is this your friend? Avi W. looked up and down. Out of a woman's intuition, she is keenly aware of the faint hostility emanating from the other person. Ex-wife. Ollie replied. Oh! Avi W. raised his eyebrows and curled the corners of his mouth. Hello, I'm Avi W. Nice to meet you. She smiled and held out her hand in a dignified manner, but that slightly raised chin and with an invisible sense of pressure. Hello. Lil's T responded politely. Although she was always very confident, I have to admit that this woman is too beautiful. Whether it is body, looks, or temperament, she is not weak. Even in some ways, it is even more magnificent. It's a guy. I guess that's what they like, right? Ollie, your friend, why haven't I met you before? Lil's T couldn't help but wonder. Did you ever care about that before? Ollie lightway. One word struck Lil's T speechless. She did not expect the other side to say so frankly, even a little harsh. The atmosphere froze for a moment. Ollie, I just want to talk to you. After a few seconds of silence, Lil's T spoke again. About what? Ollie's face was blank. It's not convenient here. You come with me, Lil's T said, and walked off to the corner. Found that the other party did not keep up. She suddenly stopped, show eyebrows lightly twist. Say what you have to say here, so as not to be misunderstood. Ollie said. Does it have to be like this? Lil's T frowns again. She was ready to make peace, but now people don't give a little face. And so resistant, as if he didn't even care about her. Miss Thompson, we are divorced and you are a noble man. You'd better not disgrace yourself by associating with the likes of me, Ollie said. I don't understand. Why does it have to be like this? Lil's T looks a little ugly. You ask me. Ollie raised her eyes slowly. Isn't this your choice? Lil's T was lost for a moment. Yeah, she broke up the marriage. What's the point of all this now? Can the heart of that unwilling and from where? Why did she feel a burst of anger, especially when she saw Ollie with another woman? And that feeling is getting stronger and stronger. Ollie, I know you hate me, but I don't think I've done anything wrong, and I've given you a chance. Lil's T's voice cooled. She has a proud personality, and it is very difficult to pull down the face. But as it turned out, the other party didn't appreciate it. So, am I still at fault? Ollie just thinks it's funny. I don't want to argue with you about that, because there's no point. But if you respect me, you shouldn't bring other women to me to show off. Lil's T submerged channel. Respect. Ollie suddenly laughs. What about Ethan Parker? You two have been tangled up since you were still married, and now you're talking about respect. Believe it or not, my conscience is clear. Lil's T held his head high. Is it? Ollie's mouth showed a touch of sarcasm, pointing to the approaching Ethan Parker. Two people. This is your so-called clear conscience? Hee. I learned it today. The two were having a private affair and they were partying together. And he said he had a clear conscience. It's ridiculous. Huh. Lil's T frowns slightly and does not explain. It's not necessary, and the other person won't believe it. Lil's T, we were just talking. Why are you here? Ethan Parker smiles as he approaches. However, when he saw the stunning Avi W., he was momentarily stunned. In those eyes, there was greed and desire. So much so that the whole person's breathing becomes faster. Beautiful. It was so beautiful. He's never seen a woman like this before. If Lil's T is cold water, then Avi W is hot fire. Just standing there without any action is so charming, enchanting. She's a natural fox. After a few deep looks, Ethan Parker looks away without a trace. He knew very well that in the presence of such a beauty, it must not be too obvious. First impressions count. Ollie, why are you here? Ethan Parker looked away and quickly frowned. Especially seeing Avi W and Ollie intimate behavior, he is even more jealous. Damn it. What kind of man is this? I just got divorced from Lil's T, and now I'm looking for a goddess. Is it the smoke from the ancestral grave? Why can't I be here? Ollie asked. Listen to Lil's T said. You in the city group is just a goon. With your identity, it seems not qualified to enter foaming floor. You will not want to mix in? Ethan Parker squinted. It's not your concern whether I'm qualified or not. Ollie lightway. Well, I guess I was right. Ethan Parker smiled coldly and turned his eyes to Avi W. This beautiful woman, you should be cheated by someone. This person beside you is not a rich kid, but a small person at the bottom of society who is not worthy of your beauty. In his opinion, Ollie must be a liar, otherwise, how can she have such a beautiful company? So what? As long as I like it. Avi W. smiled. Beauty, with your temperament and appearance, you can marry into a rich family. Why follow this guy to suffer? Ethan Parker was puzzled. What is a rich family? In my eyes, Ollie is the best. Avi W. took his arm. Excellent. Ethan Parker laughed. Money is not money, power is not power, ability is not ability. How to talk about excellence? At least, he's better looking than you. Avi W. pulled no punches. What's the point of being handsome? After all, just a boy. Ethan Parker's face sank and warned, beautiful woman, don't blame me for not reminding you. If you persist, you will be cheated of money and sex. You will regret it. Cheating. Avi W. giggled. The flower branches shook. I want to, but I'm afraid he won't want to. This explicit words not only heard Lil's T3 straight frowns. Even Ollie was a little overwhelmed. The woman is so charming that most people can't stand it. Beautiful woman. Do you not understand? This guy is a liar. You won't gain anything by following him. Seeing that his provocation had no effect, Park was obviously a little anxious. He couldn't bear that such a beautiful woman would end up being ruined by Ollie. Hey, do I bother you? It's none of your business who I want to be with. Avi W. is clearly running out of patience. Park almost vomited blood. He did not expect that the person in front of him should be so stubborn. You know you're being lied to, but you put it on. The charm of this little boy, is it that big? Mr. Parker, this kind of person deserves to be cheated. You kindly remind her that she does not appreciate it, and even speak rude. It is really a dog bites Lou Dompin, and does not know the heart of a good man. Secretary Collins said something to the side. You can't even be a good guy these days. Park was indignant. Mostly jealousy, of course. You must have known each other a long time? All of a sudden, Lil's T asked. Avi W.'s performance let her have to suspect that the two had an affair. Otherwise, why would the other party be so determined? It doesn't matter how long. The important thing is that we love each other. Avi W. smiled. During the speech, he also squeezed Ollie's arm with his own fullness, as if he were swearing sovereignty. Lil's T's eyes grew colder at the sight. Although she knew that Avi W. was deliberately irritating her, she still felt very unhappy. It was as if something had been snatched away. Ollie, I didn't expect you to hide so deeply. Not yet divorced, have already found a way out in advance. I really misread. Lil's T tried to suppress his emotions. Because of the divorce, she has been bitter, feel that she owes each other. But I didn't expect that when she thought about how to make up for it, the other side was already hugging. After a long time, it turns out that she is the clown being played. If you think so, I have nothing to say. Ollie didn't bother to explain. Good, before I felt that I owed you something. Now it seems that we are even. Lil's T's face grew cold. It was like looking at a stranger. It's for the best. Ollie's face was blank. Just the heart, but inexplicable twitching. Miss Lee. At this time, Avi W. suddenly smiled and said, although your choice is not very wise, I still have to thank you. Thank me for what? Lil's T slowly looked up. Thank you for giving Ollie to me, otherwise I would never have found such a treasure. Avi W. smiled meaningfully. This is like killing people and killing them. Hey, you fox. Secretary Collins was about to have an attack, but was stopped by Lil's T with a raised hand, and followed his eyes without flinched. The treasure in your eyes, in my opinion, is also average. Average? Avi W. picked out his eyebrows. Both civil and military are still called average. Miss Lee has a good eye, but I see that this one beside you is not so good either. At worst, he's better than Ollie. Lil's T fight each other. Is it? Why don't we make a bet? Avi W. has a playful look on his face. Bet on what? Which of the two of them is better? Who has achieved more? How about a 1-month deadline? When this word came out, all three people were stunned. No one expected that the other would make such a request. Hee. I mean, beautiful, are you on the wrong pill? You're pitting this loser against me? Is he good enough? Park chuckled as if he were looking at an idiot. It is. Mr. Parker is the successor of Yang's medicine. His assets are more than 1 billion, and what is Ollie? How does it compare to Mr. Parker? Secretary Collins curled her lips in disdain. Are you sure you want to bet on that? Lil's T was stunned. In her opinion, Ollie was almost useless except for his good looks. In contrast, Park, regardless of family, background, or personal ability, must crush each other. They're not on the same level. Ollie will never catch up to Park in 3 or 5 years, let alone a month. Of course I am. It's up to you to bet. Avi W. picked his chin. What's the stake? If anyone loses, he or she apologizes and admits that he or she is blind. Okay, no problem. Lil's T nodded. Then it's a deal, and I hope you won't regret it. Avi W. smiled. Two equally stunning, but different temperament of the great beauty, at this moment, has been secretly stronger. We'll see. Lil's T did not say much, but after a deep look at Avi W., he turned and entered the foaming building. Oink! What a disgrace. Park gave a sneer and followed them inside. The whole time, they didn't give Ollie a second thought. Mr. Liu, how's it going? Are you satisfied with my performance? Avi W. stroked her hair around her ears. Although it is a simple action, but still has a myriad of customs. The play is too much. Ollie said helplessly, with your identity, in case you lose, face is not good. Lose? Are you kidding me? Can't Mr. Liu even win against that wretched man? Avi W. is starting to fight. I am an ordinary person. How to compare with other people's rich second generation? Ollie shrugged. Ordinary people? Mr. Liu is too modest. Just your face is not ordinary. Avi W. blinked ambiguously, like an old rascally who molested his wife. Ollie was speechless and just didn't see it. Have to admit, just Avi W.'s performance, really impeccable, for him to earn a lot of face. After all, there are very few women who can hold down Lil's T's thunder. And Avi W. is undoubtedly one of them. Into the foaming building. Secretary Collins was still indignant. That woman is a bit pretty. I don't know if she was blind enough to see that loser Ollie. Who can say it is not? It is a flower in cow dung. Park also groans. He's handsome and rich. Why can't you find something like that? Well, forget that. We're here to do business today. Secretary Collins, said Lil's T, ask around and find out who the Williams family is in charge of tonight, and you'd better introduce them. My best friend works here. I'll call her right away, said Secretary Collins, pulling out her cell phone and dialing a number. After half a ring, he replied, Ms. Thompson, I have made it clear that today's charity party is organized by Ms. Williams herself, and it is up to her preference as to who the partner will be. Ms. Williams? Is it the queen of business? Lil's T's eyes lit up and he burst into life. Williams' reputation as queen is nothing short of impressive. One woman, single-handedly, crushed almost every man in Rivertown Grove. Such an existence, even she had to admire. But alas, she has never met him. Secretary Collins. And ask your friend if you can get us a private meeting with Ms. Williams? This opportunity must not be missed. Lil's T spoke again. My bestie said she could try, but she couldn't promise anything, said Secretary Collins. Yes, then trouble her. When it is done, there will be a big thank you. Lil's T could not help but feel a little more hopeful. The qualifications of the Williams family partner are very important to her. If she had met with Ms. Williams in advance, she would have been confident enough to convince her. With the passage of time, there are more and more guests in Foaming Building. The party hasn't even started yet, and Avi W is already busy. Mr. Hayes, if you'll excuse me for a moment, let anyone around you know if you need anything. Yes, thank you. Saf R, take care of Mr. Hayes for me. After saying hello, Avi W went to TNZ1 private room. This, is her private office. Big miss. Just into the private room, a middle-aged steward came over with a few documents. This is the information you want. After layers of screening, only these 4 enterprises meet the requirements of our partners. You see what else to add? Avi W nodded, did not speak, picked up the document and began to review. Half a sound later, she suddenly frowned, as if to come interested. Huh? What a coincidence. Avi W curled his lips in a playful smile. Because she saw the information on the Citigroup and Lil's T's personal history. Out of curiosity, she read all the information verbatim. Soon, she noticed something unusual. Because 3 years ago, Lil's T was just a nobody. The so-called Citigroup is no one interested. But since his marriage, Lil's T has been blessed and has grown rapidly. In just 3 years, it will be a small company of several million into a large group worth more than 1 billion. During this period, she not only has a large amount of investment, but also a variety of project orders are also a steady stream. This is clearly someone secretly manipulating, forcing food into the mouth. The question is, Lil's T has no family, no background. Who would do that for her? Is it he? Ollie's image came to Avi W's mind, because in addition to the other side, she really can't think of anyone else who would be so unconditional to help Lil's T. Then she became even more curious. Who the hell is Ollie? In just 3 years, the Citigroup pushed to this height. Obviously not ordinary people can do. Ollie, what secrets are you hiding? Avi W's eyes narrowed slightly, his interest growing. And what about Lil's T? I really don't know what you think. Let go of such a rich husband. Must be entangled with that Ethan Parker little thug. This is not brain XX disease. Avi W secretly sighed and was not angry. A man, for a woman, silently paid so much. As a result, the woman not only did not know, but even self-righteous chose to divorce. She really didn't know what to scold. But on second thought, this seems to be good. At least, she has a chance to poach. Madam, do you want to choose Lil's T from the Chinchum group? The steward nearby asked tentatively. It's rare for him to read his own girl so carefully. Lil's T? Avi W is a little displeased. Although she meets my qualifications as a partner in the Williams family, I don't like it. Got it? I'm kicking her off the Williams family's waiting list right now. The man in charge will be quick to understand. Take your time. Reorganize it. Then show it to Mr. Hayes and let him make the decision. Avi W said with a half smile. Yes. I don't know who's in charge, but I don't dare ask. Anything else? Seeing that the person in front of me did not leave, Avi W asked again casually. Madam, Zhao Tianlong from Dafa Group has just arrived and asked for you by name. The steward bowed his head and returned. Zhao Tianlong? Ahu's son? What is he doing here? Avi W was surprised. It's business, but I don't think it's nice. Should I send someone to get rid of him? Why don't you send your son? Hee. Never mind. I'll see what tricks he can do. At this moment, the party hall is already bustling. On the stage, a group of women dressed in Hanfu with graceful bodies were dancing classical dances of the Han and Tang dynasties. That every frown and smile, every move, is full of charm, exceptionally beautiful. Make people linger. Off stage, a group of well-dressed socialites sat. Some pushed the cup, talked to each other, and some silently enjoyed the program. Ollie found an empty seat and sat down, drinking juice and watching the show. Ouch! Oliver Hayes. Didn't you actually get in? While watching with relish, a disharmonious voice sounded next to it. Ollie glanced casually, just in time to see E, Park, and Lil's T. It's bad luck. Why are you everywhere? Secretary Collins had a grumpy look on her face. Lil's T did not speak, but after a cold glance, he sat down in the empty seat in the front row. Oliver Hayes, there's a charity auction coming up. Do you have any money? How dare you sit in this position? Sneered E. Park. You can't sit if you don't have money? Ollie asked. Hey, you're right, you can't sit without money. How can a freeloader like you sit with us? E. Park looked disdainful. Do you hear me? Get up and give me your seat. Secretary Collins kicked the chair. What if I don't? Ollie raised her eyes slightly. No? Then I'll call security and have you thrown out, threatened Secretary Collins. You can try. Ollie looked indifferent. Yes, you brought this on yourself. I'm not to blame for the humiliation. Secretary Collins was about to raise her hand to call, but Lil's T loudly stopped her. Well, he can sit down if he wants to. Miss Thompson. Secretary Collins frowned. Mind your own business. Lil's T settled path. It's really cheap for you. Secretary Collins glared and gave up. Then the phone rang. Secretary Collins answered and her face froze. Just arrogant face now has been replaced by panic. What's the matter? Lil's T soon noticed something unusual. Miss Thompson. Something big has happened. Secretary Collins said nervously, I've just received inside information that it looks like the Williams family is going to kick us out of the pool. What? As soon as he said this, Lil's T's face suddenly changed. Are you sure the news is true? I think so. My best friend overheard me while she was doing her business, said Secretary Collins. How did that happen? Lil's T looks a little ugly. She put a lot of effort into getting on this shortlist. Not only did he spend a lot of money, he owed a lot of favors. I thought I was on the pre-selection list, and once I met Ms. Williams again, I could win the partnership. Did not expect the last moment, unexpectedly, inexplicably kicked out, not even a sign. What the hell happened? Miss Thompson, what now? If we can't get into the preliminary list, then all our efforts before are in vain, aren't they? Secretary Collins was a little reluctant. Let me think. Lil's T frowned deeply. To become a partner of the Williams family, making money is second, and the most important thing is the promotion of identity and status. Although the Chingchun Group is developing rapidly, it has little background. If you can ride on the Williams family, then you have a backer. It's just around the corner. But now, that's all for naught. Mr. Hayes. At this time, a manager of the Williams family suddenly came to Ollie's side and handed him a document. The big lady let you look at it and make a final decision. Ollie took it and looked a little weird. Yes, in his hand, it is Lil's T and the related information of the Citigroup. The question raised by Avi W is, should we kick him off the list of partners? What the hell is this woman doing? Ollie stroked his chin, uncertainly. Obviously, Avi W did this on purpose. Especially the power of life and death of the Citigroup to him to decide. After much hesitation, Ollie chose no. Although he and Lil's T are divorced, they are far from revenge. After all, the two have been married for 3 years. Anyway, he still wants the best for the other person. Mr. Hayes, are you sure you want to do this? Asked the steward tentatively. After all, the big lady doesn't like Lil's T. Sure, Ollie nodded. Well, that will be your decision. The steward smiled politely and left with the papers. Just in his heart, but cannot help but look down on a few points. You know, this is the perfect time to impress the lady. Right now, front row seat. Unaware of the two Lil's T, still worried about this matter. The Williams family made a decision that, given their current connections, is hard to change. KKKK? At this time, E. Park suddenly coughed softly, attracting the attention of several people, and then said, Qing Yao, if it is about the pre-selection list, I should be able to help. Really? Secretary Collins's eyes lit up and she said quickly, Mr. Parker, what's your idea? To tell you the truth, my father and Mr. Williams have a history. If my father asked, I believe the Williams family would be somewhat embarrassed. Said E. Park proudly. Is it? That's great. Secretary Collins was immediately excited. Mr. Parker, if you can help us with this, you will be a great benefactor of our Chingchun Group in the future. It's easy. I'll call. E. Park smiled happily, then took out his cell phone and dialed his father's number. And I told you what happened, in a nutshell. Okay, I see. I'll talk to Mr. Williams when I have time. Father Parker said something perfunctory and hung up the phone. Park thought it was okay and immediately began to claim credit. My father has agreed. You can rest assured that the matter will be resolved soon. Well, with Mr. Parker's words, we are relieved. Secretary Collins breathed a sigh of relief. Thank you, Mr. Parker. Lil's T followed suit and thanked him. It's such a small thing, it's not worth mentioning. Park waves his hand with mock magnanimity. He looked at Ollie, defiantly. Ollie went on drinking his juice and didn't care. Suddenly, Lil's T's bell rang. He took out his mobile phone and found that it was the general manager of the Williams family group. Hello, is that Miss Thompson? The good news is that it has been decided that you will be chosen as partner of the Williams family. Partner. Lil's T froze when he heard this. Or rather, can't believe it. Because what the other party said was not a pre-selection list, but directly made her a partner of the Williams family. I even skipped the final exam. What's going on? You were telling the truth? Lil's T asked tentatively. How can it be false? If you don't believe me, come directly to the company tomorrow to sign the contract. Well, I have something to do, so I must go now. After a brief conversation, I hung up the phone. Lil's T, on the other hand, was pleasantly surprised. She had no idea that things would go so smoothly. She was about to be kicked off the shortlist, and the next thing you know, she's a partner in the Williams family. Happiness comes too suddenly. Of course, the reason she won the election is that Park's phone call played a role. But she didn't expect that the Parker family's energy was so great that just one phone call changed the Williams family's decision. What a surprise. How's it going, Miss Thompson? Is there a result? Asked Secretary Collins tentatively. That's right. Lil's T nodded with a rare smile. Just now the general manager of the Williams family group personally called to say that I have become a partner of the Williams family. When Secretary Collins said this, she burst into joy. Great. I knew it would be okay. It wouldn't have gone so well otherwise, thanks to Mr. Parker. Lil's T nodded his thanks. Yes. Mr. Parker really has a lot of powers, and it takes a few simple words to get it done. Secretary Collins was full of praise. It's all my dad's work. Park smiled. Although the words are modest, but that face of pride, but how can not cover up? In fact, there was something strange in him. When did your own father get things done so quickly? Ollie, you see that? That's the gap. Secretary Collins looked back at Ollie and quipped, Mr. Parker can easily get the partner position with a word. How about you? What are you capable of? Don't say that. Doesn't he still eat and drink? Park laughed jokingly. What else can he do but eat soft food? If anyone had any ability, they would not have mixed up like this. Seeing Ollie did not say anything, Secretary Collins was even more arrogant. It is a pity that the fox is not there. Otherwise, I really have to show her choice of men, in the end how weak. Have you finished? Get out of my way and get out of my way. Ollie Lightway. Why? Are you tired of talking to me? If you had half the skills of Mr. Parker, would you be afraid of people telling you? Mud can't hold up walls. Sneered Secretary Collins. Oh! Then I have to ask, what is Park really capable of? Ollie's face grew cold. He's low-key, but that doesn't mean he's open to insults. Clay Bodhisattvas have 3 points of anger, let alone him. Mr. Parker can make a phone call and win partnership with the Williams family. Isn't that a skill? Secretary Collins wore a condescending expression. How can you be sure he did it? What evidence is there? Ollie asked. Not Mr. Parker, but you? Why don't you look at yourself? Secretary Collins gave a cold snort. Well, Oliver Hayes, if it hadn't been for my help, what makes you think the Williams family would have suddenly changed their mind? Park looks proud. That's right. The facts are already in the eyes. Do you still want to insist? Secretary Collins chimed in. Don't be too full. If I were you, I'd check it out myself so I don't end up licking the wrong guy. Ollie looked indifferent. I think you're just jealous. If you can't do it yourself, you can't see others. Exclaimed Secretary Collins. Whatever you want to make of it. Ollie didn't bother to explain. Oliver Hayes. You wanted proof, didn't you? Yes. I gave you a good beating today. Park smiled coldly, then took out his cell phone and dialed his father's number again. Hey, Dad. What's the matter? The voice on the line was impatient. Nothing. I just wanted to ask, how did it go with Mr. Williams? Talk about nothing. I'm in a meeting. How can I plead for you? Remember, don't bother me with this kind of nonsense in the future. Huh. When Park said this, he was stunned. With a beep, the phone hangs up. The smile on Park's face has completely stiffened. He was just about to show off, but this is what he didn't expect. If it wasn't his father, then who was it? Is it just a coincidence? Mr. Parker, what did your father say on the phone? Why don't you tell me? Ollie half smiled. He was sitting in the back seat of Park, and to his ear, he could hear everything he had just heard on the phone. In fact, you don't even need to hear it. The expression on the other person's face speaks for itself. Mr. Parker, be big. Speak up and let this guy know how big the difference is between you two, urged Secretary Collins. Park's eyelids jumped, forcing a calm smile. What else to say? My father has just admitted that it was indeed he who asked the Williams family for help. Otherwise, Qing Yao would not get the qualification of this partner. Ollie frowned when he said that. He did not expect that Park had such a thick skin and dared to lie under the eyes of everyone. And it's so natural. Ollie, did you hear that? I told you it was the Parker family, but you didn't believe me. Now what do you have to say? Cried Secretary Collins. Would you believe me if I said Park was lying? Ollie suddenly asked back. Ollie, you've had enough. At this point, Lil's T could not resist. You've been messing around, are you done? I know you're jealous of Park, but you can't keep smearing each other, can you? Is it really that hard to admit that someone is good? Lil's T stood up and shouted angrily, looking as if he hated iron. Originally she did not want to dispute, but Ollie has been stubborn, but also all kinds of slander questioned. She really cannot bear it. Jealousy? Smear? Ollie slightly startled. So in your eyes, I am the kind of tattletale villain? Look at your behavior now, don't you? Lil's T shouted back. One word left Ollie speechless. Ollie didn't realize that he didn't have any trust in Lil's T. 3 years of marriage, is it worse than an outsider? It is. I am a villain, Park is a gentleman. I insulted him. So you are satisfied. Ollie laughs at himself. When trust is lost, no amount of explanation matters. What is your attitude? Have I wronged you? Lil's T frowned. No, it is my own mouth is cheap, I deserve it. Ollie said coldly. How stubborn you are. Lil's T is on fire. She had no idea that Ollie was such a person. Jealous, deliberately slandering, and unrepentant. After the divorce, you completely shed the disguise? Come on, Lil's T, don't be so angry. At this time, Park also put on a good face. Ollie saw me close to you. It is inevitable that some hostility. I don't blame him. After all, everyone will make mistakes. You look at the other Park, good for evil. This is the difference. Lil's T looks like he hates iron. If you really think so, I have nothing to say. Ollie's face was cold. I think you have a guilty conscience. Secretary Collins looked disdainful and said, people like you don't have the ability to do it, but they still like to talk hard. Really disgusting. Whatever you think. Ollie didn't bother to say more. He got up and started to leave. Just then, a young man with curly hair suddenly walked into the door. The young man wore dark glasses, smoked a cigar, and dragged it like a 250-80,000 yuan. Whoops. It's really busy here. Christopher Johnson grinned and his eyes darted. However, when his eyes fell on Lil's T, he momentarily froze. His eyes were burning like fire. TSK? I didn't expect to be so lucky tonight to see such a wonderful woman. Christopher Johnson licked his lips, then walked straight over to Lil's T and smiled. You look familiar to me, beautiful lady. Don't we know each other from somewhere? Lil's T glanced at it, not paying attention. Beauty, meeting is destined. Why not go with me to drink 2 cups? How about it? Christopher Johnson sent out an invitation. Not interested. Lil's T refused. Interest can be cultivated with money. Christopher Johnson rubbed his chin and said with a wicked smile, well, Let's just do it. As long as you can sleep with me for one night, the price is open. Get out of here. Lil's T spit a word. Whoops. Is it spicy? But I like it. Christopher Johnson smiled more excitedly. When you're talking, touch it. Snap. Lil's T was in a bad mood, and his backhand was a slap in the face. The 5-finger marks are clearly visible. You. How dare you hit me? Christopher Johnson touched his fiery face, and suddenly his face darkened. So what if I hit you? No manners at all. Lil's T cold track. Bitch. I think you are not willing to accept the penalty. Christopher Johnson got angry, and when he tried to do it, Park pushed him away. Fuck. Dare to run wild here. I think you are tired of living. Park stared. In front of him, hitting on his girl. Isn't that a hookup? Boy. I advise you to mind your own business, or you will suffer the consequences. Christopher Johnson crowed. Oh, are you fucking scaring me? Come, I want to see. What are you capable of? Park waved defiantly. You want to die? Christopher Johnson doesn't say a word. He throws a punch. Park gets away with it and throws a counterpunch, hitting him hard in the face. Christopher Johnson was left staggering and bleeding from his nose. Fight me? I practiced. Park sneers. Mr. Parker is mighty. Such rascals should be beaten. Secretary Collins was full of praise. That's right. Good shot. Some of the onlookers around the guests also clapped. This has greatly satisfied Park's vanity. Heroes save the beauty of this thing. Finally let him meet. What a ride. Boy, do you know who I am? How dare you hit me? Christopher Johnson gritted his teeth and looked sullen. I don't care who you are. Get out if you don't want to die. Park's wicked ways. Yes, you have balls. Don't run if you can. After throwing down a harsh sentence, Christopher Johnson walked away quickly. How dare you act like a pussy in front of me? What an overreach. Park curled his lips in disdain. Mr. Parker, I didn't expect you to be so strong that you knocked him down in one punch. Secretary Collins's eyes lit up. Oh, like this little punk, 10 more will not be enough. Park smiled proudly. Usually practice Sonda, the key moment is also very useful. Thanks to Mr. Parker you came forward, or we would have lost out against such rascals. No problem, in the future, you can call me at any time. I will ensure that you are safe. Park stiffened his chest. Finally have a chance to show. Naturally cannot pass up. Miss Thompson, see? That's a real man. As Secretary Collins said, she turned her eyes back to Ollie and said sarcastically, unlike some people, when something happens, they shrink into a turtle and don't dare to say anything. Typical loser. Lil's T said nothing, but was more disappointed. At the beginning of the danger, Ollie stood by and watched the whole time, with no intention of helping. Let alone the two were once married, even if an ordinary person met, would not sit idly by. I hadn't thought about it before, but now she realized what a loser Ollie was. Compared to Park, it's not even close. Quick! Round this place up. Then there was a noise. Christopher Johnson, who had stormed out before, now came back with a vengeance. Why? Didn't you just get hit enough? Do you want me to beat you up? Park stepped forward and looked like a man in charge. However, when he saw a group of big and thick bodyguards behind Christopher Johnson, the smile on his face froze in an instant. Why have you brought so many people? Park's eyelids jumped and he felt a little weak for no reason. Damn it, we promised to fight each other, and you're in a group fight. That's not chivalry. In the heart to scold, but at this moment Park also can only be hard to head up. Whatever you do, you can't lose face in front of the goddess. That's them. Round me up. When Christopher Johnson waved his hand, a group of bodyguards swarmed around Park. What for? I'm warning you, my dad is Hector Parker, president of the Parker Family Medicine. Seeing that the situation was not good, Park immediately called himself. Trying to scare these people with his father's reputation. Grass. What the hell is Hector Parker? A bodyguard shouted. Do you know who is next to me? This is Mr. Johnson's son, the prince of our Daihatsu group. When he said this, The whole audience was in uproar. Mr. Johnson? Is it the underground emperor of the East Side, Matthew Johnson? Who would dare to call Mr. Johnson but that evil star? Poor boy, he got into trouble with Mr. Johnson's son. It looks like today will be bad luck. People whispered. Their faces were a little afraid. You are Mr. Johnson's man? After a slight start, Park immediately panicked. Matthew Johnson, nicknamed Mr. Johnson, was a famous local emperor in Dongcheng, second only to the Big Three. It's ruthless, vindictive will be reported. Under the perennial raised hundreds of people, specializing in some of the gray business of extortion. You know, the kind of guy you talk about. Anyone who has offended Mr. Johnson will die without knowing how. Damn it, that was a kick in the ass today. Why? Didn't you just get a little cocky? Are you afraid now? Christopher Johnson approached with a cold face and extremely bad eyes. Brother, misunderstanding, all misunderstanding. Park forced a smile, a look of submissive. A misunderstanding? I misunderstood your sister. Christopher Johnson is angry, raised his hand is 2 slaps, hard hit Park face. Clap. With 2 crackles, 2 5-fingerprints are clearly visible. Park dared not speak angrily, but could only smile. Brother, my father and Mr. Johnson are still a little friendship. Give a face, let this matter go today. I'll set some tables tomorrow to make amends. Face? Who the hell are you to be proud of me? Christopher Johnson jabbed Park's forehead with his index finger. Every poke forced him to take a step back. At this moment, Park, like a grandson, you dare not say anything. Hey, you hooligans, how can you bully too many people? At this point, Secretary Collins in the back couldn't resist. Why? You don't seem satisfied. Christopher Johnson pushed away Park and approached the 2 women with a wicked smile. I warn you, this is the Williams family's house, and you'd better not mess around, said Secretary Collins in a lion's skin. What about the Williams family? Do you think I'm afraid? Christopher Johnson sneered. Besides, you hit him first. I was just defending myself. What can the Williams family do to me? You're talking nonsense. Secretary Collins is in a hurry. I guess you don't understand what's going on, do you? In that case, let my people teach you. Christopher Johnson gestures and quickly steps out of the way of 2 menacing bodyguards. Stop it. Lil's T suddenly stepped forward and said coldly, this has nothing to do with her. Let her go. It has nothing to do with her, so it has to do with you. Christopher Johnson smiled. Let her go is fine, but tonight you have to serve me well, make me comfortable. Everything is easy to talk about. Shame. Lil's T raised his hand and slapped again. But this time, he was caught by Christopher Johnson. Bitch. Dare to do it? Tie her up. Yes. Several bodyguards immediately stepped forward and restrained Lil's T. Rogue. Let go of Miss Thompson. Secretary Collins is about to defend the Lord, and the next second Christopher Johnson kicks her to the ground. Mr. Parker. Save Miss Thompson. Secretary Collins was in so much pain that she could not get up. She turned to Park for help. Mr. Johnson, why bother with 2 women? Park insisted. For the sake of the goddess, only risk pleading. Grass. I ain't done with you yet. How dare you stand up to me? Christopher Johnson looks bad. No, I mean we get rich together. There's no need to get violent. Park laughed along. With your mother. Shoo. Christopher Johnson slapped Park and knocked him to the ground. Don't you dare say one more fucking word, I'll kill you. Park shrank his neck and was suddenly speechless. Although the goddess is important, it is not as important as your own life. There's no reason to offend the famous Mr. Johnson over a woman. How tough did you think it was? What a coward. Christopher Johnson mercilessly mocked. I really don't know how such a woman, how to like you such a pussy. Park sniffed out of the corner of his eye as if he hadn't heard. You guys stop dilly-dalling. Take the people away from me. I want to have a good time tonight. With a wave of his hand, Christopher Johnson tied up Lil's T. Just get ready to leave. Mr. Parker. Quick. Save people. Screamed Secretary Collins. However, Park did not respond, just bowed his head in silence. The performance of this scoundrel made everyone shake their heads. All said that a crown of anger for beauty, the other side obviously did not have the courage. Just when everyone thought Lil's tea was going to be humiliated tonight, a straight figure suddenly blocked in front of Christopher Johnson and coldly said, "This person, you can't move." "What, you want to save beauty? Do you think you're the cut?" Christopher Johnson snorted. "Let them go before it gets too big," Ollie said coldly. "Hee hee, what if I don't?" Christopher Johnson sneered. "If you don't, you'll die." Ollie spits out a few words with a blank face. Just the look in his eyes, terrible cold. "Dead?" At this, Christopher Johnson burst out laughing. Along with a group of bodyguards behind him, they also laughed. "Look at Ollie like he's an idiot. Boy, do you have any idea who I am? How dare you talk to me like that?" Christopher Johnson joked. "I don't care who you are, I don't care who you are. You have 3 seconds to release him, or there will be consequences." Ollie lightway. When he said this, the whole audience was in uproar. Along with Lil's tea, several people are surprised to come out. No one expected Ollie to come forward at a moment like this. Compared to the silence of Park, it is indeed courageous. But it didn't help. A thing that knows nothing. "I'll see how you die later." Park has a bitter look on his face. Because Ollie, by standing up, is showing his cowardice. He was naturally upset, even resentful, that a loser was braver than he was. "Grass. Are you fucking crazy?" Christopher Johnson looked up and down and exclaimed, "Playing hero in front of me? Yes. Let me see. What do you got?" Then he made a gesture. Soon, 2 burly bodyguards behind him strode out and grabbed Ollie at the same time. These 2 men are 5'9" tall, covered with ganglion, strong as a bear, and look very intimidating. In front of these 2 strong men, Ollie looked like a schoolboy. Just when everyone thought this was a no-brainer. An accident, it happened. As soon as the 2 men got close, Ollie threw a lightning punch, bang, bang, bang 2 times, each in the face. Then, 2 burly mountain-strong men, as if struck by lightning, so crashed to the ground. There were no signs. Seeing this scene, the faces of the people were amazed. No one knew what had happened, because in the blink of an eye, the 2 strong men had already fallen. And Ollie just stood there like nothing was wrong. "Grass. What did you just do?" Christopher Johnson's face sank. The 2 men who just went down, they were both his best men. Usually play 3 or 5 people, not a problem at all. And now, the first time I see you, it's weird. "Last chance. Let them go," Ollie said coldly. "I'll let your mother go. Together." Christopher Johnson was furious and gave a violent wave of his hand. A group of bodyguards behind him immediately surrounded Ollie. Ollie cut the crap and swooped in. He moves as fast as lightning and strikes with extraordinary intensity. With each punch, there was the faint sound of an explosion. Those tall bodyguards, in front of the tiger Ollie, like a lamb to be slaughtered. There's no resistance at all. Bang, bang, bang. With a thud. Within a few short breaths, all the bodyguards were on the ground. Thunk. When the last man fell, there was complete silence. All the guests were stunned, as if they were looking at a monster. They never expected Ollie to be so fierce. Single-handedly take down a dozen people like a movie. How can this guy be so good? Park stared in disbelief. No way? Is this the same old Ollie? Secretary Collins was also dumbfounded and unable to calm down. Can you still fight? After the shock, Lil's T's face became mixed. 3 years of marriage, and she didn't even know Ollie could fight. Is the other side hiding too deep? Or is she just not caring? Who are you? Who are you? At this moment, Christopher Johnson also panicked and subconsciously took 2 steps back. It's your nemesis. Ollie began to inch closer. Don't come. Christopher Johnson suddenly pulled out a folding knife and pointed it at Lil's neck. If you take one more step, I'll kill her. I hate it when people threaten me. With a chill on her face, Ollie suddenly stepped forward and grabbed Christopher Johnson's hand holding the knife. Then, crack it hard. Cut. There was a crackle and the folding knife fell to the ground. Christopher Johnson froze, and then he screamed like a pig. Shut up. Christopher Johnson was halfway through when Ollie slapped him in the face. So, that terrible scream, hard hit back. In an instant, it was as if Christopher Johnson had eaten shit and was not well. You're dead. All of you are dead. Finally, Christopher Johnson began to make harsh threats. Is it? Ollie kept a blank face and kicked him to the ground. Stop it. At this, Lil's T immediately stepped in front. You can't hurt him, or the consequences will be very serious. I don't care. Ollie lightway. I care. Lil's T had a stern look on his face. Do you know that if you beat him up, we will all have to follow you? Ollie frowns slightly as he says this. He also thought that the other side was worried about his safety. For a long time, it turned out that I was afraid of being implicated. Ollie, enough is enough. Don't get us involved, said Secretary Collins. That's right. Dare to touch Zhao Xiao? I think you're tired of living. After shouting, Park immediately helped Christopher Johnson to his feet and explained, Zhao Xiao, it was Ollie who just hit you. It's not our business. That's more like a complaint than a dump. Ollie narrowed his eyes and felt a pressure on his chest. He just did it because he wanted to save people. As a result, now he has become a violent villain. It's hard not to feel good about it. Boy, are you a good fighter? What good can you do? Seeing Ollie's silence, Christopher Johnson thought that the other side was weak and instantly became arrogant. I tell you, coming out to talk about power and background. Dare to start a fight with me? Do you believe I let you die without a burial? Ollie did not speak, but her eyes grew colder. Why? Scared? Christopher Johnson grinned. Since you have no guts, kneel down and kowtow. Maybe I'm in a good mood and can let you live. Why are you still staring? Kowtow to Mr. Johnson and apologize. When Ollie was crushed, Park gloated. He was jealous of the other guy for showing off. And now it's time to pay. Kneel down? Or not kneel. Get down on your knees and you'll never see anyone again. If you don't kneel, if Christopher Johnson retaliates, it's either dead or maimed. Boy, don't blame me for not giving you a chance. If you kneel and kowtow today, I'll spare your life. Otherwise, don't blame me for being cruel. Christopher Johnson poked Ollie in the chest with his hand, like I'm gonna eat you. No power, no power. So what? He's just a man of war. He's not a real man. Do you realize you're playing with fire? Ollie looked at his partner's fingers. Playing with fire? Christopher Johnson grinned. I'm not just going to play with fire. I'm going to play with your woman. Believe it or not, tomorrow I will torture your woman right in front of you. Not only me, but all my brothers kicked her. I want you to watch, but you can't do anything about it. I will show you what despair is, what life is worse than death. Ollie's face darkened as he said this. Anger can no longer contain. You want to die. Ollie grabbed Christopher Johnson by the neck. And then you lift it over your head like a chicken. Then raise the other hand. Bang bang, 2 fists, hard hit its abdomen. Oh! Christopher Johnson's stomach writhed, and he tried to vomit, but his neck was held and he couldn't. For a moment, his face turned red. Especially the strong sense of suffocation made him suddenly realize that he seemed to have done something wrong. Stop it. Lil's T tried to stop him. However, Ollie ignored him and punched Christopher Johnson in the crotch again. Bang! With a dull sound, the lower body a group of blood dance burst, yellow-white flow to the ground. A dash! Christopher Johnson's body convulsed wildly with pain. He tried to scream but couldn't make a sound. Finally, his head tilted and he passed out on the spot. Looking at the pool of blood in his crotch, everyone was stunned. They never dreamed that Ollie could be so ruthless. One punch, and he killed Christopher Johnson. You know, that's Mr. Johnson's son. If you lose a hair, you have to get in trouble, let alone get beat up. It can be expected that Ollie will suffer from Mr. Johnson's crazy revenge in the future. You're crazy. Lil's T's face changed and he pushed Ollie away. Do you have any idea what you've done? You've made a big mistake this time. If it is just a small knock, you can also apologize or use money to solve it. But now that Christopher Johnson has been beaten, how will Matthew Johnson stop? Just a piece of shit, is that wrong? Ollie acted calm. That's not the point. The point is that you shouldn't hurt people. Lil's T frowned. Lou, you want to die? Don't fuck with us. You know what happens when you hit Mr. Johnson's son. Park was angry too. Ollie may have done it, but he's done it before. If Mr. Johnson gets involved, he's not gonna get away with it. All right. Don't say anything. This is it. You better run. Get as far away as you can while there's still time. Lil's T was quick to react. She knew that if word got out that Christopher Johnson was dead, Mr. Johnson would be furious. When that happens, everyone will be here and Ollie will die. I don't feel like I have to run for my life. Ollie Lightway. Don't be brave. Mr. Johnson's power is far greater than you can imagine, and your self-righteous fists and feet have no effect at all. Lil's T shouted. Even if a man can fight, can he still beat a bullet? Miss Thompson, such people do not listen to advice and say nothing. Let us mind our own business, lest we get ourselves burned. Secretary Collins urged immediately. That's right. This guy can't run. As if thinking of something, Park suddenly blocked the door. If he escapes, what will we do? If Mr. Johnson wants revenge, aren't we as scapegoats? Mr. Parker has a point. Secretary Collins suddenly realized if Ollie escapes, then we will suffer with him. What are you talking about? Ollie was trying to save us. Lil's T frowned. Who let him save? What a dog and mouse meddling. Secretary Collins snorted. That's right. Since he caused the disaster, he should take the blame himself. Park righteous words of the way. You. Lil's T had a cold look on his face, and when he was about to say something, Ollie interrupted him. You can rest assured that I will work alone, and I will not harm you. Lives are at stake. Will you stop being brave? Lil's T wasn't angry. I don't need Miss Thompson to worry about me. It has nothing to do with you. You just watch the fun. Ollie said. What do you mean? You think I'm afraid of being implicated? Lil's T frowned. Isn't it? As Ollie spoke, she glanced at both Secretary Collins. This stark hint left Lil's T speechless for a moment. She hadn't thought of it that way, but her secretary had drawn the line early for fear of being implicated. In the other person's eyes, her secretary's words, isn't that what she means? I don't care what you think, today you must go. Lil's T suddenly became forceful. I don't care what you say, but I'm not going. With that, Ollie turned and went into the back garden. You. Lil's T was pissed off. This guy, why is he so rebellious? Because of Ollie's actions, the hall has exploded. Some of the faint-hearted have already left early for fear of getting caught up. Christopher Johnson, who was seriously injured and unconscious, was also sent to the hospital by his bodyguards at the first time. This is a problem. Lil's T furrowed his eyebrows and looked grave. Mr. Johnson has a reputation for being a ruthless man, and he's not gonna let that go. Ollie, I'm afraid it's not gonna be long. Secretary Collins, you get in touch and see if you can put this to rest. Lil's T said suddenly. Miss Thompson, it was Ollie who did the beating, so what do we care? Why should we bother about him? Secretary Collins was puzzled. He just saved me. Do you want me to let him die? Lil's T's face turned cold. That's not what I meant. I just don't think it would be wise to offend Mr. Johnson at this time, and no one wants to get involved. Explained Secretary Collins. At any rate, we must try. Lil's T has a steady look in his eyes. That. All right. Secretary Collins had no choice but to compromise. Then immediately call and start making connections. However, when those big bosses understood what had happened, they were so scared that they hung up the phone and did not dare to intervene in Mr. Johnson's affairs. Miss Thompson, as you can see, it's not that we won't help, it's that we can't. Secretary Collins laid out her hand. Try again. Lil's T frowns. It doesn't work if I try. Secretary Collins shook her head and was just about to say something when she suddenly caught sight of Park nearby. It looks like Mr. Parker can help with that. Me? Park pointed to himself, stunned. Yes. Didn't you say earlier that your father had a relationship with Mr. Johnson? If your father came forward, it would ease things up a bit, wouldn't it? Secretary Collins looked expectantly. This. Park curled the corners of his mouth. His father and Mr. Johnson knew each other, but only on business. Usually a little thing. Maybe can sell some face. But this time Christopher Johnson was so badly beaten, how could Mr. Johnson stop? Mr. Parker, if you can help me on this one, I owe you big time. Lil's T looked serious. Looking at the goddess's expectant eyes, Park couldn't help but feel a little perplexed. This is the best time to win the hearts of beautiful people, and he will not let it pass. I can try, but I can't promise anything. After all, it's Mr. Johnson, you know. After some hesitation, Park finally said yes. I know, and I'm grateful for anything to keep Ollie alive. Lil's T looked relaxed. Well, I'll do my best. Park nodded, not saying enough. It's best if you can, but there's nothing to lose if you can't. Well, as long as Lil's T says it, you owe him one. At this moment, foaming building a restroom. Avi W. looked at the security camera. The corners of his mouth cannot help but a meaningful smile. Christopher Johnson had just been beaten, and she had seen it all, except to clap her hands. For the Johnson family's several flies, she has been very upset, but for some reason, cannot personally hand. Fortunately, Ollie didn't let her down, and today's performance was exactly what she wanted. Mr. Hayes is too weak to stop Matthew Johnson from retaliating. Do you want to help him? A clerk next door suddenly said. Don't worry, send someone to keep an eye on it first. That surname Zhao may not be able to fight Ollie. Avi W. squinted at the tall figure in the picture. Oh, do you think so of him? The steward was a little surprised. I'm more hopeful than hopeful, and I always feel that he can surprise me. Avi W. half smiled. You don't really like him, do you, madam? You have a fiancé, you know. Huh. Avi W. gave a cold glance and frightened the steward into silence. Remember, it's not up to you to talk about me, just your job. Yes. The manager was too quiet to say any more. It's midnight inside the district hospital. As the door of the emergency room opened, Christopher Johnson, his lower body covered in bandages, was wheeled out on a flatbed. In an instant, everyone crowded around. At the head of the group was a heavy-set man with a soft beard. This man is the underground emperor of the East Side, Matthew Johnson. Doctor, how's my son? Matthew Johnson asks first. The patient's life was saved, but the injuries in that place were so severe that I am afraid he cannot perform any more human services from now on. The doctor sighed. What? As soon as he said that, Matthew Johnson's face changed. If you can't do personnel anymore, isn't that a eunuch? What do you eat? You can't fix a wound like that. Matthew Johnson grabbed the doctor by the collar. We did everything we could, sir. The patient was so badly hurt that it was difficult to save his life. The doctor was helpless. He had never seen a man so miserable, beaten to a pulp down there. He would have died if he hadn't got to the hospital in time. Rubbish. Shoo. Matthew Johnson pushed the doctor away, his face grim. Not even the best doctor at the district hospital, and his son, he must be a real loser. Say it. What the hell is going on? Matthew Johnson suddenly turned his head and ferociously looked at the group of bodyguards behind him. The Sky Dragon is in good shape. Why was it beaten like this? Here's the thing, Mr. Johnson. A bodyguard came forward with a hard scalp and simply said it again. After hearing this, Matthew Johnson instantly became angry, looked up and slapped the bodyguard in the face. You scum. 12 men can't beat one man. What use do I need you for? After scolding, Matthew Johnson was still angry, and each person gave a few slaps. The bodyguards lowered their heads and did not make a sound. Why are you still staring? Get your men together and hunt that boy down. I don't care who he is. If he hurts my son, I'll cut him to pieces. With Matthew Johnson's order, all sides have sprung into action. A turbulent storm began to brew. The next day, early in the morning. Foaming building, TNZ Room 1. Mr. Hayes, thank you for your protection. Here is the dragon heart you asked for. Please have a look. Avi W. put a delicate wooden box on the table and pushed it forward. Huh. Ollie opens it. I saw that in the wooden box, there was a herb as red as blood. Herbs are curved, like a dragon with teeth and claws, which is very strange. A slight smell, there is a strange smell. It is really the dragon heartgrass. Thank you, Miss Williams. Ollie's face brightened. All these years, he's been searching for all kinds of precious elixirs. And now, at last, another. There are 5 left. We just have to find the last 5. You're welcome. You've earned it all. Speaking of which, I should be thanking you. Avi W. smiled. Miss Williams, I have an ungrateful request. If there are such rare herbs in the future, could you please contact me at the first time? I am willing to spend a lot of money to buy. Ollie looked serious. It could be, but I'm curious. What does Mr. Hayes want with all this stuff? Avi W. asked tentatively. Save people. Ollie hesitated, but finally said, I have a friend who is badly injured and needs these rare herbs to save her life. Oh! What's so bad that you can't cure Mr. Hayes? Avi W. was surprised. Ollie's skill, she's seen it with her own eyes, bringing the dead back to life. It's no use relying on medical skills alone. You need a lot of herbs to heal. Ollie shook his head. If you can't make bricks without straw, even if the medical skill is superb, there is no corresponding medicine. Many serious diseases cannot be treated. So that's it. Avi W. nodded suddenly. Okay, I will pay attention for you. As soon as there is news, I will inform you immediately. Then I'll thank Miss Williams first. Ollie nodded slightly. It's just small things. We'll keep in touch. Avi W. blinked ambiguously. Okay, keep in touch. Ollie didn't stay long. After a few pleasantries, he said goodbye and left. 20 minutes later. The entrance of Ping and Medical Center. Ollie strode in, carrying 2 bottles of wine. See what I've brought you, old drunkard? He shouted and looked around. Soon, he followed the snore and saw a drunk old man with rosacea under the table in the hospital. The old man had one eye, a broken leg, and was dressed in a scruffy, beggar-like manner. Hey, wake up! Ollie pushed the old man. The other person ignored, rolled over, went back to sleep. The snoring got louder. A deep sleep. Ollie picked the corner of his mouth and opened a bottle of wine. As the aroma spreads, the next second, the sleepy old man instantly bounced up, his head touched, and directly knocked the table into pieces. Ignoring the broken ground, he snatched the bottle from Ollie's hand and slammed a mouthful into his mouth. Good wine. The one-eyed old man gave a long and comfortable roar, his face intoxicated. These 2 bottles cost me a lot of money. You must save your drink. Ollie cautions. Don't do that. The one-eyed old man rolled his eyes. Your boy is so rich that 2 bottles of wine are nothing? That can't be wasted. Stop talking. Now, what did you want to see me about? The one-eyed old man glared. Here, I've found another excellent elixir. Ollie handed over the box containing the dragon's heartgrass. Huh. The one-eyed old man opened a look and suddenly frowned. Stinky boy, I have told you many times, don't give me medicine, anyway, sooner or later. Die 2 years early and 2 years late. What's the difference? It's your business to die, and it's mine to find medicine. Ollie shrugged. Hey, why don't you listen? The one-eyed old man was a little anxious. Do you know that the key ingredients for refining life, Dan, are in the hands of the Hayes family? If you continue to look for it, sooner or later you will be found. So what? I am not the same person I was 10 years ago, Ollie said. Boy, I know you have what it takes now, that you are better than blue and better than blue, but the Hayes family is an insurmountable mountain, and I don't want you to get caught up in it. The one-eyed old man looked serious. I have been hiding for 10 years. I don't want to hide anymore. I want to live my life in a dignified way. Ollie looked firm. The road of life you seek is doomed to be full of thorns, and your mother only wants you to live in peace like ordinary people. Mother is gone, cannot come back. You are my only family in this world. Do I have to watch you die? Ollie exclaimed. I mean my life. Death is not enough. Then I will die with you. Hey, why are you so stubborn? If you're not thinking about yourself, you're thinking about your beautiful wife, right? Do you want her to be widowed? The one-eyed old man pulled out his trump card. As early as 3 years ago, he could see that Ollie had ambitions. In order to make it safe, he specially picked a beauty with a big butt and gave the other party as a daughter-in-law. Every time something happens to him, he does it. It's no use. We're divorced. Ollie shook his head. What? A divorce? The one-eyed old man suddenly froze. Bad, bad, bad. The rope is gone. Without bondage, then this dragon will not soon soar into the sky? Old man, I've made up my mind. Whether you agree with me or not, I'm going to do it. You should know my character. Ollie looked serious. That's all. If you want to break in, go ahead. The one-eyed old man waved his hand and sighed. Big deal. I will break a leg again and blind an eye. You can't be blind. I'll let you live. Ollie slowly clenched his fist, his eyes firmer than ever. 10 years ago, you protect me. Now, I protect you. At noon, the office of the president of the Qing City Group, Lil's T, looked at the file absent-mindedly, preoccupied with Ollie. She was a little worried that if the other party was caught by Mr. Johnson, wouldn't it be impossible to live and ask for death? Secretary Collins. After a few moments of fretting, Lil's T finally couldn't hold back. What can I do for you, Miss Thompson? Secretary Collins knocked on the door and walked in. Help me prepare a gift. I'm going to the Daihatsu Group. Lil's T. Dow. Daihatsu Group? Isn't that Mr. Johnson's place? Secretary Collins looked startled. Yes, I want to talk to Mr. Johnson. Lil's T nodded. About what? Because of Ollie. Secretary Collins was anxious. Mrs. Thompson, don't be impulsive. Mr. Johnson, in good spirit, you are going over now, are you not yourself into the muzzle of a gun? At any rate, we must try. Lil's T looked firm. Wait, isn't there Mr. Parker? He said he wanted to help. Why don't we wait? Urged Secretary Collins. I have been waiting all night, and now there is no movement. I guess Park is not able to help. I must personally come forward. Lil's T shook his head. Miss Thompson, is there no better way? Shall we think again? Secretary Collins looked worried. Ollie got into trouble for me. I can't just stand by. Go get ready. Lil's T waved. Looking at the firm eyes in front of her, Secretary Collins could not help but sigh and could only choose to obey. She knew very well that once Miss Thompson had made a decision, she would not change it. In 30 minutes, 2 people drove the car, came to the Daihatsu Group. Secretary Collins, you stay in the car. You don't have to come in with me. Lil's T commanded. How can that be? How can I let you risk your life alone? Secretary Collins is very loyal. This is a bit dangerous. Just in case, I need you to stay outside, and if I'm not out in half an hour, you call the police immediately, understand? Lil's T looked serious. Good. I promise to finish the job. Secretary Collins nodded heavily. She also realized that she was responsible and that Miss Thompson's safe return depended on her. Then I'll go in first. Lil's T didn't say much, opened the door and entered the Daihatsu Group. Unlike any serious company, inside the Dafa Group, there are all some big men, and each dragon painting tiger, a look is not good stubble. After identifying himself, Lil's T eventually made his way to the top-floor office, led by a bald man. Right now, in the office, Matt J., a bearded man with a cigar in his mouth, sat calmly on the couch. Are you Miss Thompson of the City Group? Seeing Lil's T enter the door, Matt J. could not help but narrow his eyes. Really grow like a beautiful flower, no wonder my son, who is not worthy of it, would argue with people for you. May I ask, Mr. Johnson, how is your son's injury? Lil's T asked tentatively. Not bad, can't die, is the person wasted? Matt J. subtle way. Wasted? Lil's T's eyelids jumped. Although the other side said understatement, but the eye of the touch of resentment. But how can not cover up? Now, how are you going to talk to me about it? Matt J. crossed his legs on the table and assumed a comfortable position. Mr. Johnson, since I am responsible for this, I take full responsibility, and I only hope that you will spare Ollie's life. Lil's T said earnestly. Are you in charge? Can you afford the responsibility? Matt J. sneers. I will get the best doctor to treat your son. In addition, I will make the corresponding compensation how much you need. You just name the price. Lil's T. Dow. I'm not short of money. Matt J. suddenly slapped a bottle of wine on the table. If you want to talk to me, then dry this bottle of wine first. This, Lil's tea. It's a little difficult. She can't handle a bottle of wine. I don't know if she can handle it. Why? You don't want to drink? If you don't drink, you won't talk. Matt J. waved his hand. I drink. Lil's tea hesitated for 2 seconds and finally picked up the bottle. What's a bottle of wine worth to Ollie's life? So, after taking a deep breath, she aimed at the bottle and began to pump. About a third of the way through, she started coughing violently and her face turned red. She gritted her teeth and continued to drink despite the discomfort. 2/3 of the way through the drink, she obviously felt a little dizzy head. She took a few breaths and finally drank it all. Are you satisfied now, Mr. Johnson? Lil's tea was holding the table with a little slack in his step. Oh, that's interesting. Matt J. laughed playfully. Since you are so sincere, then I will give you a chance. Now take off your clothes. Huh? Lil's tea frowned. What do you mean, Mr. Johnson? Don't you understand? I want you to take off your clothes and serve me well, and as soon as you have served me well, I will consider letting you live. To be honest, I've been with a lot of women, but I've never had one like you. Matt J. had a wicked smile on his face. At this, Lil's T's face suddenly darkened. My son Chris J. is greedy and lustful, and I didn't realize that my father was too. What a mistake. Mr. Johnson, everything else can be discussed, but not this one. Lil's T. Submergence channel. No? Matt J., with a bad look on his face, said, You should know my means. I can sit here and talk to you, that is your honor. When I don't want to talk about it, it won't matter if you get naked and kneel in front of me, so you'd better think it over. I'm going to take a shower, and when I get back, I'd better see you naked, or I'll do it myself. Then not only will I be alone, but the brothers outside my door will be too. At these words, Lil's T's face changed. She suddenly realized that she had fallen into the jaws of the tiger. Inside the Ping and Medical Center, Ollie's having a drink with the one-eyed man. Then the phone rang. Hey, Ollie, Miss Thompson is in danger. Come and help. Secretary Collins began to shout. Danger? What's going on? Ollie frowned. It's all because of you. Miss Thompson is worried about your safety, so she personally came to negotiate with Mr. Johnson, and now she has not come out. It is likely that she is in danger. Secretary Collins spoke quickly. Nonsense. I told you it was my business. What's she getting into? Ollie's face darkened. Oliver Hayes, do you still have a conscience? Miss Thompson was there to save you, said Secretary Collins angrily. Where is she? Daihatsu Group. I'll be right there. Without further ado, Ollie hung up the phone and headed straight for his destination. On the other side, inside the Daihatsu Group, Lil's T leaned back on the couch dazed, his hair at the temples wet with sweat. The last bottle of wine has come up, resulting in her limbs are now weak, stand a little unsteady. The most important thing is that when she entered the door, her bag and mobile phone were all buckled, and she could not even call for help. What to do? As she pondered what to do, the office door opened again. Matt J., in his nightgown, struts in. Why are you still dressed? Do I have to do it myself? Matt J.'s eyes moved up and down. In his eyes, Lil's T, at this moment, is like a ripe peach. All over, there is a strange temptation. You can't help but taste it. Mr. Johnson, you'd better not mess around. I've made arrangements in advance. If I don't get out in half an hour, my men will call the police. Warned Lil's T. Why? Are you scaring me? Matt J. sneered. How do you think I got to where I am today? To tell you the truth, there are a lot of my people in the station. Do you think they will touch me? At this, Lil's T's face changed. She thought that with the backhand, she could keep herself safe, but she didn't expect the other side to be empty. Okay. Don't struggle, no one can save you today. If you don't want to die, be obedient. Matt J. began to creep closer. Don't come. Lil's T suddenly grabbed a pair of scissors on the table, intending to make a last stand. Grass. Shame on you. Matt J. gets angry and knocks Lil's T to the ground with a direct punch. And then his body, like a bear, just pressed up. With one pull, he tore Lil's T's clothes, revealing his white thighs and slender waist. Just as he was about to reach out and explore further inside. Bang! There was a loud bang and the door was suddenly kicked open. A handsome man came in, bloodthirsty. The fierce eyes as if to eat people. Who are you, boy? How do you mess with me? Matt J. rose slowly, his face extremely unfriendly. Ollie did not speak, but took off his coat and covered it with Lil's T. On your body. In an instant, the semi-conscious Lil's T felt himself enveloped by a familiar breath. An inexplicable sense of security immediately spread all over the body. Isn't it Mr. Johnson? I'm the one who shot your son, and now you. Any last words? Ollie looked up and looked straight at Matt J, like he was looking at a dead man. So, it's you, boy. Matt J smiled grimly first. It is true that heaven has a way you do not walk. Hell has no door you break in. One man, breaking into my place? I think you're tired of living. With that, he reached out and clicked under the table. Ring, ring, ring. A shrill alarm sounded. In an instant, it was like kicking up a hornet's nest. A large number of thugs began to pour out of the passageways and quickly converged on the office. Before a while, the entire office, inside and outside, has been surrounded by water. Looking at the dark, there are at least hundreds of people. And the number continues to increase. Boy, I hear you can fight. Matt J grinned. Even if you can play a dozen or 20, so what? I got about 200 guys here. How are you going to fight today? It doesn't matter if you are strong. After all, it is difficult to fight four hands. It seems you are prepared. Ollie looked away, his face still calm. But I want to kill you, no one can stop. What a crazy boy. I want to see what you're capable of. Kill me. As Matt J gave the order, the thugs pulled out their knives. Stop it. At this time, a sudden sound of violent drinking came from the entrance of the corridor. Along with that, there were several gunshots. Bang, bang, bang. When the gun went off, everyone was shocked. Then the crowd dispersed. An old man wearing a tang suit with gray hair walked in with his head held high. Behind him, there were several gunmen looking at him. Mr. Miller? Why are you here? Matt J greeted him with a smile on his face. You see, this is the president of the Rivertown Grove Chamber of Commerce, one of the real big three. Even stomping your feet can make Rivertown Grove quakes exist. Get out of here. Dan M ignored Matt J, walked right up to Ollie and asked eagerly, Mr. Hayes, are you okay? I'm fine. Why are you here? Ollie was surprised. I came as soon as I heard Mr. Hayes was in danger, but in time. Dan M wiped his sweat and looked a little scared. If something happens to the man in front of you on his turf, he's gonna suffer, too. Mr. Miller, you. No. Matt J's eyes widened with astonishment on his face. You dog. Dan M was furious, and when he raised his hand, he slapped Matt J's face. What the fuck are you? How do you bump Mr. Hayes? I think you're tired of living. Huh. Matt J was stunned and couldn't believe it. According to his research, Ollie is just a little guy with no background. How could he let Dan M? So nervous? Is it true that the other side has been hiding it all along? What the hell are you still doing? Let them go. Dan M let out another angry drink. Matt J winked at the corners of his eyes and turned a little ugly. If he is kind enough to persuade him, he is not unable to give face. The thing is, Dan M started yelling and slapped him. If this man is released, how can he be humiliated? Mr. Miller, this guy destroyed my son and trespassed on my property. If I let him go today, how would anyone know? Matt J voice sink. Your son deserves to be ruined. Dan M cold hum. If you don't let people go today, I will let you die. Hot a group, chickens and dogs do not leave. Mr. Miller, your family is too big for me to mess with, but don't forget, there are people behind me. Matt J shouted in an ass. You mean Lamont Warner? Dan M smiled coldly. To tell you the truth, even if Lamont Warner is here today, I have to let someone go. As soon as he said that, Matt J's face darkened. He didn't expect Dan M to be so tough. Not even Mr. Warner for two strangers. Good. Nice. I'll tell Mr. Warner what happened today. Matt J has some nasty ways. Mr. Warner is the head of the big three and Dan M. One head. The other side, so do not give face. There will be pain in the future. Stop talking. Let them go at once. Dan M. didn't bother to say more, pulled out a gun and pointed it at Matt J. on the forehead. Let them go. Seeing the other side move the real thing, Matt J. gritted his teeth and could only give in. There's no reason to risk your life for a moment's sake. Matt J. Today is just a warning, and Lamont Warner won't be able to protect you if this happens again. After one word, Dan M. escorted Ollie and Ollie away. Nearly 200 goons, too scared to move. Mr. Johnson, just let them go? A little brother is not reconciled. What else can I do? You want some fucking peanuts? Matt J.'s grumpy way. As soon as this word came out, the younger brother was suddenly silent. Damn it. I can't swallow that breath. Matt J. looked gloomy and said, contact Robert's master immediately and ask him to come back and help that Oliver Hayes boy. He has to die today. Yes. When he walked out of the Daihatsu group, the unconscious Lils T finally woke up. Miss Thompson, are you all right? Dan M. asked with concern. Mr. Miller? What are you doing here? Did you just save me? Lils T looked stunned. I didn't do anything, just icing on the cake, but Mr. Hayes, in the face of the siege of 200 people, are still desperate to protect you, really with deep feelings. Dan M. laughed. Is it? Lils T looked away at Ollie next to him, and his face became mixed. Mr. Miller, didn't you just say you had something to do? Ollie said coldly. Oh, yes, you see my memory. Almost forgot. You two talk slowly, I'll be going. Dan M. did not stay long, said hello, and then led the people to leave. Miss Thompson. Suddenly, Secretary Collins stepped out of the car. She kept watch at the door, and Lils T came out on his own before the police could wait. Miss Thompson, the one who just left, is that Mr. Miller? Asked Secretary Collins tentatively. Yes, thanks to Mr. Miller's help, we are safe. Lils T nodded. Mr. Miller is no relation to us. Why would he come forward in person? Secretary Collins looked surprised. I'm curious about that, too. Lils T is thoughtful. She has no relationship with Mr. Miller. Why would he help her? I know. It must have been Mr. Parker. Secretary Collins seemed to be thinking of something when she suddenly said, after I called the police, I called Mr. Parker. He must have hired Mr. Miller. Park. Lils T raised his eyebrows, a little incredulous. That's right. The only one who can offer to help us and have the power to engage Mr. Miller is Mr. Parker, said Secretary Collins in a self-righteous analysis. There is some truth in that. Lils T agrees. While the two were talking, a red Ferrari suddenly pulled over. The car door opened and the smartly dressed Park stepped out. Lils, are you okay? I came as soon as I got the call. Park looks concerned. Thanks for your help. Mr. Parker or Miss Thompson would have been in danger. Secretary Collins quickly thanked her. Help. Park was startled and did not react. Yes, Mr. Miller has just arrived. He personally intervened and helped Miss Thompson out. Laughed Secretary Collins. Huh. Park was even more surprised. Mr. Parker, I didn't expect you to be so good. Even Mr. Miller can move. I really admire. Secretary Collins began to puff. Park's mouth twitched and his face looked strange. Who is Mr. Miller? Where can he be moved? Not to mention asking for a favor he's not even qualified to meet. Although it is not known what happened, it is clear that the two have misunderstood. In that case, let's go ahead with the mistake. There's nothing to lose. That? I was just trying, and I didn't expect Mr. Miller to be so generous. Park straightened his tie and accepted it calmly. Ollie laughed out loud at this. This guy's got a really thick skin. Aren't you afraid of getting caught? Ollie, are you laughing? Secretary Collins said with a look of dissatisfaction. Look at Mr. Parker. He easily resolved the crisis. How about you? He used brute force and almost killed Miss Thompson. He's so good. Why has he not shown up until now? Ollie lightway. Although Mr. Parker showed up late, he asked Mr. Miller to help. Otherwise, You think you can walk out of Mr. Johnson's territory alive? Said Secretary Collins. That's just wishful thinking. I don't think Park saved me. Ollie Lightway. Hey, how can you be so ungrateful? Someone saved your life. You don't know how to be grateful, but you still talk like this. What a white-eyed wolf. Secretary Collins is not happy. Come on. Someone returns good with a grievance. We don't need to dispute. Otherwise, it looks too cheap. Park put on a big show. See? That's grace. Secretary Collins glared. Ollie, Mr. Parker saved our lives. Wouldn't it be too much to say thank you? Lil's T was not pleased. Thank you. It's none of my business. Ollie doesn't give a shit. When did you become like this? Lil's T frowned slightly. Just come out of danger. Not even say thank you, not even this kind of tolerance. I've always been like that the first day you met me. Ollie mercilessly said, and please don't meddle in the future. A man broke into Matt J. The territory really no brain. I have no brain? I did it to save you, didn't I? Lil's T. It's on fire. Save me? Who let you save? Ollie's voice suddenly rose several degrees. What is your relationship with me? Do I need your help? Would you stop being such a self-indulgent? When it is clear that you are in trouble, you still try to be brave here, which is really asking for trouble. At that, Lil's T was stunned. She did not expect that the other side would say such a thing. So that's what you want to tell me? Lil's T stood still in disbelief. Looking at Ollie's cold face, she felt strange as never before. Deep inside, it is a bitter and grievance. That's right. That's all I'm saying. Ollie said unceremoniously, please remember, my affairs are not your concern. My life or death is none of your business. There's nothing between us anymore, Do you understand? A straight talk made Lil's T freeze. How did she not expect that their kindness, in exchange for not gratitude and thank you, but rebuke and complain? When did two people become so incompatible? Hey, Oliver Hayes. Are you still human? Secretary Collins couldn't listen anymore and snapped. Ms. Thompson was kind enough to help you, and this is your attitude? Did a dog eat your conscience? What attitude do you need? Shall I praise her bravery for breaking into a wolf's den alone? Ollie Coldtrack. You are so ungrateful. Secretary Collins was furious. All right. Don't say it. From now on, I will not care about you, whether you live or die. It has nothing to do with me. Lil's T finally could not bear it, dropped a word and left angrily. But no one noticed that she has always been stubborn and tough. Her eyes have been slightly red. Oliver Hayes. You remember that. Don't come to us again. Secretary Collins glared and ran after her. What an idiot. Park, grinning, followed. This is a good time to jump in, so we can't miss it. Stupid woman. Looking at the back of Lil's T, Ollie's eyes became somewhat complicated. He deliberately took people away, mainly to protect their safety. If he hadn't just shown up, Lil's T would have been killed by Matt J. It's stained. He does not want such a situation to happen again, so he must be ruthless and cut off from each other. Now, it's time for a reckoning. Ollie took a deep breath, turned around, and looked at the Daihatsu group again. The reason why I just chose to leave is not fear, but fear. Now that Lil's T is safe, he has nothing to fear. A gentleman takes revenge 10 years later. A villain takes revenge every night. He's no gentleman, so he needs to end it today. Thinking of this, Ollie no longer hesitated and strode directly into the Daihatsu group. Then, as the crowd watched in amazement, the door was locked behind him. Then the screams, the wailing, began to follow. The whole thing, it took about 20 minutes. 20 minutes later. Touch! With a bang, the door of the top-floor office was smashed in by the body of a gangster. At the same time, Ollie, covered in blood, walks in, murderous, over the dead body of the gangster. At this moment, he was like a Hellshura in general, where he passed, blood everywhere. Let people look and give birth to cold. Right now, in the office, the people, led by Matt J., were all dumbfounded, their hair standing on their heads. That look, it was like a monster. They never dreamed that Ollie would be so fierce. From the first floor, straight to the top. On his own, he wiped out 200 men. Is this still a fucking person? You. Who the hell are you? Matt J. panicked and backed away. At first, when he saw Ollie kill back, he was complacent, thinking that the other side had thrown himself into the trap. But he soon realized he was wrong. And how wrong? They're not killing themselves, they're killing them. From the door, step by step, layer by layer, ferocious kill up. The whole time, there is no one enemy. You want revenge on me, but you don't even know who I am. Ollie began to inch closer, his eyes very cold. Grass. Don't you fucking come over here or I'll shoot you. Matt J. suddenly pulled out a gun from the drawer. However, before he could raise his hand, Ollie ducked forward and grabbed the muzzle. Follow. Give it a squeeze. Crunch. There was a sound of metal friction. Matt J. was horrified to find that his pistol had been pinched into a twist by the other side. That's steel. What kind of man can need a gun like it's mud? Mr. Hayes, what happened before was a misunderstanding. As long as you leave now, I can assure you, I will not trouble you again. Matt J. broke out in a cold sweat and decided to give in. This kind of force is beyond the scope of ordinary people. No wonder someone as big as Dana M. is so deferential in front of Ollie. You don't bother me, but I'll bother you. As Ollie spoke, he suddenly grabbed Matt J.'s shoulder and pulled down hard. Just listen to click a sound. Its arm directly twisted and broken. Matt J. screamed. Can you touch my woman, too? With a blank face, Ollie strikes again, breaking another arm. Matt J. was breaking out in a cold sweat with pain, his face contorted. The few remaining people in the room were even more frightened and did not dare to approach. Grass. Do you know who my patron is? That's Lamont Warner, Mr. Warner, head of the Rivertown Grove Triumvirate. If you try to kill me today, Mr. Warner will cut you to pieces. In a matter of life and death, Matt J. threatened in an ass. He's trying to use his backers to scare people off. This. Your last words. Ollie raised his eyebrows and punched him to the floor. If you have nothing else to say, you can die. Don't kill me. Please don't kill me. I have power and money, and I'll give you whatever you want, as long as you don't kill me. Matt J., vomiting blood, fell to his knees and kowtowed wildly. He is really afraid. Powerful? That reminds me. Ollie scanned her eyes and suddenly looked at a smartly dressed man in the corner. Can follow Matt J. around, you should be his confidant. The man nodded fearfully and said nothing. Good, kill him and all Matt J.'s assets are yours, said Ollie, kicking a knife at his feet. The man looked at the knife, hesitated, and then his eyes suddenly became fierce. No, don't. Before Matt J. could say anything, the man picked up the knife and plunged it through his chest. Blood gushed out in an instant. Matt J. fell to the ground with his eyes wide open. He died without realizing who he had offended. Great master, the man has been killed. The man looked nervous. Matt J. has a lot of power on the east side. Can you handle the situation with his death? Ollie asked, not too salty. Now that the choice is going its own way, it's time to cultivate the chess pieces. Don't worry, master. I can definitely control the situation. A man's oath. Oh! So confident. Ollie raised his eyebrows and said, unexpectedly, then I have to ask, what position do you hold in Daihatsu Group? The man did not answer, but pointed to Matt J., who was lying in a pool of blood, and said, He's my father. He's my father. The man's simple 4 words, but left Ollie slightly shocked. He thought he was just a henchman, but he didn't think they had this relationship. I heard Matt J.'s son is Chris J., and who are you? Ollie asked tentatively. My name is Jenkins Johnson, Matt J., the bastard son. The man looked down and explained, Matt J. raped my mother and gave birth to me. To hide the scandal, he didn't reveal my identity. Instead, he gave me the name of an adopted son. So you hate him? Ollie has something to say. Of course I do. Jenkins Johnson bit his teeth and said without anger, when he abandoned his wife and children, let our mother and son be poor, now I just regard me as a helper Chris J. I am not willing to be stepped on day and night. I want to get back what belongs to myself. Very good. Ollie nodded with satisfaction. Since you have ambition, Then I will help you. As long as you obey, I will not only support you to rise, I will also make you the king of the entire Rivertown Grove. Many thanks, Lord. Jenkins Johnson's face was so happy that he fell to his knees and banged his head 3 times. He's a smart guy, and he can see that Ollie's different. With one's own power, sweeping the entire Daihatsu group, its strength is terrible, you can imagine. Follow this kind of people. The future is bound to be bright. Just call me Mr. Hayes, and if you have any trouble in the future, call me anytime. I ask of you nothing but loyalty. Ollie tapped. Pledge allegiance to Mr. Hayes. Jenkins Johnson nodded heavily. You know what you're going to do about it, right? Ollie asked again. Understood. What happened today had nothing to do with Mr. Hayes, it was all me. Jenkins Johnson will know soon enough. You are a wise man. Ollie smiled with satisfaction. Looks like this piece has some potential after all. At this time, a mobile phone on the table suddenly began to vibrate. With Ollie's acquiescence, Johnson clicks the talk button. Hello? What is it? Borrow money? 50 million? I hear you still owe the bank? Are you trying to get a loan from us when you are almost bankrupt? Okay, I don't have time to talk to you, go away. After some yelling, Johnson hung up the phone immediately. What's the matter? Ollie asked casually. Nothing. Just a guy named Hector Parker called for a loan and asked for $50 million. Hector Parker? Ollie raised an eyebrow. Does he have a son, Park? It seems so. How do you know? There's something strange about Jenkins Johnson. Nothing. Go on. If before I also borrowed, after all, our group is doing this line, but recently I received the news that the Parker family medicine, because of selling fake drugs, has been sealed, but has not been announced, a bankrupt enterprise, which can also lend money to them. What if the money runs away? Jenkins Johnson said. Good. It seems that you are already familiar with the business side, taking over Matt J. There should be no problem. Ollie nodded. Thank you, Mr. Hayes. Jenkins Johnson said respectfully. Okay, clean this up. I'll go. I'll be in touch. Ollie didn't say much, changed into a clean suit, and walked out of the Daihatsu group. It's the first time in 10 years that he's gone on a killing spree. There was no fluctuation in the mind, but an extraordinary calm. After all, compared to a decade ago, these are small scenes. Dee. Just as Ollie was getting a cab back to the clinic, a yellow Lamborghini came roaring up. When it was about to hit, it suddenly came to a sudden stop and stopped steadily. As the window came down, a sweet face appeared. It was a girl with a ponytail, 17 or 18 years old, in her youth and beauty. Hey, Oliver Hayes. Get in the car. The girl waved. Who are you? There's something strange about Ollie. Damn it. We only met yesterday, and you forgot. The girl did not look angry. She asked herself that she was born beautiful and attracted attention wherever she went. The kind of guy who looks at it and falls in love at first sight. But I saw this guy, and it was only one night before I forgot. Does she just not exist? Some of them look familiar. I've seen them before. Ollie tried to remember. Yesterday. Hospital. You treated my grandfather. Do you remember? The girl gritted her teeth. Oh, you're Avi W.'s sister, Shaw Williams, right? Ollie soon realized. What Shaw Williams? Miss Olivia Williams. Olivia Williams. The girl's hair blew up immediately. You want to step on the gas and kill the person in front of you. She's never been hit like this in her entire life. What a bully. Excuse me, Miss Olivia Williams, did you want to see me? Ollie had the sense to change the subject. Of course it's not. Or am I too full? Olivia Williams rolled her eyes and said, Get in the car, my sister has a strange illness and needs to see you. Well? What happened to Miss Williams? Ollie asked. How should I know? You're a doctor. Of course you have to find out. Get in the car, Olivia Williams said. Ollie had no choice but to ride in the Lamborghini. Then, in the eyes of a group of passers-by, envious envy and hate, to go. The car drove for about half an hour and finally stopped in front of a luxury villa called Tianxiang Yuan. The villa has a large courtyard which not only has rockery hot springs, but also a garden and a swimming pool. At the gate, there are bodyguards guarding it 24 hours a day. Come with me. After getting out of the car, Olivia Williams raced along, eventually leading Ollie into a bedroom. At this moment, the bedroom is in a separate bathroom. Avi W., in a business suit, in a bathtub full of ice. Her face was red, her eyes blurred, and she was breathing heavily. The proud part, the fierce ups and downs, the ripples circle after circle. What's wrong with you, Miss Williams? Ollie stepped forward and looked stiff, because he noticed that Avi W. didn't seem to be wearing underwear. You can't see it, but when you get wet with water, certain parts of it become invisible. This is the ultimate beauty, and this wet body temptation the average man cannot resist. Mr. Hayes, you're here. Avi W. opened his blurred eyes and exhaled like an orchid. I feel so hot, so thirsty, so uncomfortable. It's as if there's a fire burning in my chest. Help me see. With that, he took the initiative to extend his white wrist. Ollie did a little checking and soon had the results. Miss Williams, if I read you correctly, you must have been poisoned, and a strong aphrodisiac poison at that. Bah. Who's so low? You drugged my sister, exclaimed Olivia Williams. What now, Mr. Hayes? Avi W. asked weakly. Although it is a special aphrodisiac poison, it is still fine to cure, but you have to go to bed first, and the bathtub is not easy to cure. Ollie motioned him to get up. Avi W. nodded and stood up with strength. As she stepped out of the tub, however, she slipped and fell straight into Ollie's arms. Almost unconsciously, Ollie reached for it, his chest touching the amazing elasticity. Avi W. flushed as if he had received an electric shock. For a moment, both men froze. Ollie's brain, it's almost a blink. On the other hand, Avi W., the eyes are like silk, the breath is like blue, and the face is sad. The fire inside, it seems even worse. Without warning, Avi W. lifted her red lips, looked up, and kissed Ollie. Ah, what are you guys doing? Shame on you in broad daylight. Olivia Williams, standing in the doorway, suddenly exclaimed. At the same time, he reached out to cover his face, making a shield. Just the curious eyes, but through the open fingers, the intimacy of the two people, see clearly. Sorry, I didn't mean to. Ollie reacted instantly and quickly pushed Avi W. away, his face full of embarrassment. The accident just happened so suddenly that he didn't have time to think. Nothing, it's just me. Maybe it was too strong. I just couldn't hold it back. Avi W. coquettish way. As he spoke, he glared at Liv W. I have a chance to get out of here and you don't see anything? Why don't you just go out? You have to be here screaming. I won't deduct a month's allowance from you. Liv W. Put your sister to bed first. Ollie commanded. Of course I will. Do you still want to take advantage? Liv W. rolled her eyes and went back to bed, holding Avi W., who looked bad. Miss Williams, take off your clothes and lie on your stomach. Ollie said again. Undress? I despise you. You are such a pervert, you can never die. At this, Liv W. immediately jumped up. Don't get me wrong, I must use the silver needle to force the poison out of your sister's body, or she will suffer more and more until she is out of control. Ollie explains. Really? Don't you bullshit me. Liv W. looked incredulous. How could I lie about something like that? Ollie was helpless. All right, I'll trust you for once, but first turn around and don't peek. Warns Liv W. Good, said Hermione. Ollie didn't say much. He turned his back. Sister, put on your underwear before this guy takes advantage of you. Liv W. hands over a pair of underwear. Hee. How sweet of you. My good sister. Avi W. S words almost through the teeth. Of course. Here, let me help you. Liv W. smirked and quickly dressed her sister. I think you can go out without interfering with Mr. Hayes' treatment. Avi W. winked. No way. What if he's up to something with you? I have to keep an eye on it. Liv W. refused. Avi W. drew out of the corner of his eye and was made to laugh and cry by his honest sister. Why doesn't this girl wake up? No way. You have to find time to train yourself. Oliver Hayes. Put it on, you can turn around. With Liv W. W.'s permission, Ollie finally turned around. At this moment, Avi W. is quietly lying on the bed, revealing a bright white and tender back. His hips, waist, and back form an almost perfect curve. The whole thing looks like an exquisite work of art. What do? Do it. Liv W., looking over her shoulder. Ollie collected himself, removed the silver needle from his back, sat down on the edge of the bed, and began to give Avi W. apply the needle. This aphrodisiac poison, although the effect is strong, but fortunately found in time, so the treatment is not difficult. The only problem is Avi W.'s body is too attractive, coupled with the charming posture after the emotive, always impact the human mind. Fortunately, Ollie's concentration is excellent, and his eyes are only focused on the key points everywhere, which is to resist the charm. Maybe after a stick of incense. Call. Ollie heaved a sigh and pulled all the silver needles from Avi W. Beauty's back. Miss Williams, the toxin is gone from your body, and you can drink more water to clear up the remaining medicinal properties. Thank you, Mr. Hayes, for your help. Avi W. Charming smile. His face is flawless, and he still has some charm. Like sweet wine, it looks very intoxicating. Sister, put your clothes on. Liv W., without a word, immediately wrapped her sister in a blanket. Fear of being taken advantage of. Miss Williams, your aphrodisiac poison is very serious, almost the same as Mr. Williams's poison before. If I guess correctly, it should be the same person. Ollie said suddenly. No wonder I kept feeling something was wrong. Avi W. nodded thoughtfully. Miss Williams, this is not the way to go on. One will be poisoned. Impossible to prevent. In order to prevent future problems, it is best to find out the Black Hand as soon as possible. Ollie said. Does Mr. Hayes have any ideas? Avi W. asked. I need to understand the situation before I can have a response. Miss Williams, may I ask, where have you been today? Who did you see? Ollie asked. I met Lamont Warner today. He asked me to talk business and then about partnership, but I said no. Avi W. answered truthfully. Oh! Did you drink the wine he poured? Ollie asked. Of course not. Lamont Warner is an ambitious man who has been after the Williams family's property. I was prepared for this, so why would I eat and drink at random? Avi W. shook his head. Elder sister, if you say so, that is a little strange. Did not eat and drink, how can be poisoned? Liv W. looked puzzled. How should I know? Avi W. rolled his eyes. Miss Williams, when you met, did you smell anything or touch anything in particular? Ollie tried to warn. Oh! Now that you say it, I remember. Avi W. suddenly realized. When I first entered the house, I did smell a very unique fragrance. When I thought it was what aromatherapy, I did not care much, and then after smelling for a long time, my head was a little dizzy, and the body began to heat. Fortunately, I had been vigilant and pulled out in advance, otherwise I would have fallen down today. So, it must be the smell. Ollie nodded thoughtfully. Mr. Hayes, what do you have in mind? Avi W. asked. I have just examined and found that there are traces of ambergris in your body, and if I am not mistaken, the person should be based on ambergris, combined with various aphrodisiac herbs refined to produce this poison. Ollie said. So what if you know? The question is, how do you find this person? Liv W. folded her arms around her chest. Ambergris is relatively rare, so there should not be many people who buy it. Check the people who have bought and sold ambergris recently, and then screen one by one. I believe there will be results soon. Ollie said. Good idea. I'll have someone look into it right away. Avi W.'s eyes lit up and he began to arrange. With the power of the Williams family, it's not hard. Miss Williams, if there's anything else, I'll leave you now. Ollie is ready to leave. Wait. Avi W. suddenly sent out an invitation. Mr. Hayes, today is the Mid-Autumn Festival. Would you like to have dinner with me? Well, I already have an appointment. Ollie declined. An appointment? Avi W. looked incredulous and said, Not with your ex-wife? What about it? Does Mr. Hayes think I'm not as pretty as she is? Or is she not in good shape? While speaking, he also demonstratively shows some of his fullness. Ollie's face froze. He couldn't answer the question. Cluck. All right, no more teasing. Seeing this, Avi W. smiled wildly. Since Mr. Hayes has an appointment, then I will not force, but in order to show my gratitude, I have something to give you. And he gestured out of the door. Soon a servant came in with a beautiful gift box. Here are 2 bottles of old craft wine I have cherished for a long time, has been reluctant to drink. Please, Mr. Hayes, smile. Avi W. holding out his hand. In that case, I'll be rude. Ollie didn't refuse. He just took it. If you help someone, you deserve a little money. Well, anything Avi W. can give away, obviously, can't be too bad. Peace, send for Mr. Hayes. Avi W. commanded. Oh, he said. Liv W. gave a reluctant response. Then he took Ollie and got back in his Lamborghini. Ring, ring, ring. Ollie had just got into the car when the bell rang. He pulled out his cell phone and saw that it was Grandpa Lil's T, calling. Hey, Ollie, when are you coming? Have dinner together. Grandpa, I have something to do. Ollie tried to decline. No matter how busy you are, you have to eat. Lily, that girl is really too much. The Mid-Autumn Festival does not give you a holiday. When we meet later, you will see what I say to her. Mr. Thompson was not angry. It's not her problem. It's my problem. Well, you don't have to defend her. I know how you are. It must be her fault. You come back first. Grandpa's in charge this time. The whole family must get together during the Mid-Autumn Festival. That. All right. Ollie had no choice but to say yes. He was the son-in-law of the Thompson family for 3 years, and only Mr. Thompson regarded him as his own. For this elder, he is also sincere respect. After this holiday, I guess it's hard to see you again. Think of it as goodbye. At noon, Ollie drove to the Thompson family house. The old house is located in the city village. The area is not large. There is a small yard. There are some flowers and plants. When Ollie got out of the car, the first thing he saw was Lil's T at the door. I was going to pretend I didn't see it, but before I got in, I was stopped by the other side. Stop. I want to talk to you. Say what? The two face each other back to back, each facing the air. Grandpa has not been well recently. I haven't told him about your divorce for the time being, so as not to irritate him. Do you think you can hide such a thing? After the holidays, I'll find a chance to tell Grandpa, but not today. Yes, I see. What else? It's gone. With a cold word, Lil's T turned and entered the room. Didn't even look at Ollie. The whole time, the two sides acted like strangers. Ollie took a deep breath, took the drink, and walked in. As soon as he entered the living room, he found that many people had gathered inside. Most of the Thompson family members have arrived. Only former father-in-law Chris Thompson, due to a business trip, temporarily unable to return. But this time, in Chris Thompson's old seat, there's an outsider, E. Park. Someone is such a big rack that he makes us wait for so many elders. At the sight of Ollie, Soph E. began to sneer. The expression, very bad. Mom, don't you say that. He is very strong now. If he starts a storm, maybe even you dare to fight. Nate T., who was next to him, said something strange. Ever since he got beat up yesterday, he's been upset. Although the bandage has been removed, the bluish heel and puffiness on her face have not dissipated. Well, now that we're all here, let's eat. Mr. Thompson responded by smiling at Ollie and saying, Ollie, you sit next to Grandpa and we'll have a drink later. Good, said Hermione. Ollie smiled and helped Mr. Thompson to his seat. What a brown-noser. Nate T. had a jealous look in his eyes. He never understood why Grandpa was so kind to Ollie. You know, he's the grandson. Come, everyone have a drink first. Happy holidays. As soon as everyone was seated, Mr. Thompson called for the wine to be poured. Grandpa, that wine you bought is not interesting. Look what this is. Nate T. picks up a beautifully wrapped bottle of red wine and puts it on the table. This is Mr. Parker's wine, Romani Conti, he says. This is what you want. Romani Conti? It must be expensive, isn't it? One asked. Of course it's expensive. This bottle of wine is worth hundreds of thousands. Nate T. said proudly. What? 100,000 a bottle. Hearing this, everyone was startled. No one expected that a bottle of wine could be so expensive. Although they came from a good family, they never drank this kind of wine. Park, why are you buying such expensive wine? Isn't that expensive? Soph was pleasantly surprised and a little proud. After all, this is her hand-picked son-in-law. 100,000, it is nothing. Like this wine, I have a box at home. Everyone drink. Park smiled with mock modesty. But the expression on his face, he didn't hide it. It is true that he is Mr. Parker, who drinks more than 100,000 yuan of wine without blinking. Yes, I have never drunk such expensive wine in my life. Today is a taste of good luck. People began to praise. That flattering attitude served Park well. Oliver Hayes. You look at other people, Park, any bottle of wine is hundreds of thousands. You look at you, brought 2 bottles of cheap goods. It is not too shabby. Soph a handful and a stomp. While elevating Park, don't forget to step on Ollie. Here, let me see. What kind of wine does this guy bring? Nate smiled unkindly and opened the wine box without permission. Soon, 2 bottles of old packaging of refined wine in front of everyone. I thought it was something good. Just 2 bottles of craft beer. Nate disdained. Like this kind of fine wine, at best $2,000 a bottle, fundamentally not the table, which can be compared with Mr. Parker's Romani Conti? That's right. Craft beer is so cheap, dogs won't drink it. Someone chimed in. In fact, craft brewing is not bad, but compared with the comparison, it is not worth mentioning. How dare you serve such cheap wine? What a shame. Soph sneered. Craft brewing is known as the national wine. How can it be cheap? Is it only foreign wine that is noble? Ollie Lightway. Mr. Parker's bottle of wine is worth more than 100,000 yuan, and yours is only 2,000 yuan. Isn't it cheap? Nate looks disgusted. Expensive wine is not necessarily good. You like it is important. Besides, how do you know my drinks are less expensive than Park's? Ollie retorted. When the facts are in front of you, do you want to quibble? Nate sneers. You can send cheap goods, but still refuse to admit it. How disgusting. Soph looked disdainful. Well, since you don't know what I'm talking about, forget it. Ollie didn't bother to explain. There is no point in arguing with such people. All right. It doesn't matter whether the wine is expensive or not. It is the best to taste. Red wine or something. I am not used to drinking. I like to drink white wine. Mr. Thompson opened one of the bottles and poured himself a glass. Oh! Why is the wine yellow? Shouldn't craft brew be white? Yellow and cloudy? Can't this be a fake bar? My goodness. Sending fake wine? What man is this? At the sight of the yellow liquid in the cup, everyone immediately talked. Hello, Oliver Hayes. You dare not dare to use fake wine to make up the number. What is your heart in the end? Soph suddenly stood up. Ollie, you're running out of money and you're delivering fake booze? Can you afford to take responsibility if something goes wrong? How unpredictable the human heart is. If we had just drunk his wine, wouldn't we all have been poisoned? For a moment, emotions ran high. Sending cheap wine is just a loss of face at best. If you send fake wine, it is evil. At this moment, even Mr. Thompson doesn't know how to smooth things over. Although he rarely drinks craft wine, he also knows that the wine should be very clear white. And this cup in front of me, not only yellow, but also very cloudy. It doesn't look like a good thing. Vintage, all this color. Ollie explains. You farted. Nate glared. You think we've never seen the world before? Where's the wine like you? It looks like pee. It is. You clearly sent fake wine, and you dare to quibble here. Soph didn't look angry. Ollie, I never thought you were this kind of person. If you can't afford wine, just tell me. I'll give you 2 bottles. Why use fake wine to hurt people? Park shook his head and made a show of not being able to make peace. In fact, in my heart, I was already happy. Such a stupid opponent, really win no sense of accomplishment. I don't care if you believe it or not, but this wine can't be fake. Ollie is sure. As OVW, how is it possible to deliver fake alcohol? Yo, what a lively home. At this time, a middle-aged man in a suit suddenly walked into the door carrying a gift. Dad, why are you back? Didn't you say you were on a business trip? Nate T. said in surprise. It was none other than Lil's T.'s father, Chris Thompson. The deal was done, so I came back early, just in time for the holidays. Chris Thompson smiled and glanced casually at the wine on the table. Oh, Romani Conti? Although it is produced in recent years, this bottle of wine is estimated to be hundreds of thousands of yuan. Dad, you do know wine, you can tell at a glance. Nate T. thumbs up. Chris, this wine is from E. Park. Look how thoughtful he is. Soph E. said. His eyes suddenly looked at Ollie, somberly said. Unlike some people, no money to send wine, even bought 2 bottles of fake wine harm. Fake wine. Chris Thompson starts slightly. That's right. This is it. Nate T. pointed to the yellow liquid in the glass. This fake wine was sent by Ollie. If we hadn't found it in time, I don't know what would have happened to it. Chris Thompson said nothing. He picked up his glass and smelled. In an instant, his eyes lit up. Don't say a word. Drink straight down. Dad, are you crazy? This is fake wine. It'll kill you. This scene, Nate T. and others are all scared. Chris Thompson, however, was delighted. The palate is silky, the wine is rich, and the finish is endless. What kind of fake wine is this? This is clearly precious old craft wine. When he said this, the whole audience was shocked.